Hello, and welcome to the Church of Fuck You. I'm St. Patrick. Well, church, I've been promising this for a while, but I was finally able to put this together for you. So what I was able to create was the victimhood hierarchy, all right? So this is like the oppression pie chart for everyone in the media. Okay, it doesn't matter what organization you seem to be with, this is how they, determine the importance of stories. All right, so here we go. There's 5 different categories. You have race, gender, politics, religion, and sexual preference. Okay, this is how we break it down. So it's on a point scale. So let me explain it real fast. I'm trying to get through this as fast as I can, so I want the video to be too long. So please forgive me if I speed through this. So race. All right, black and Hispanic, you get 1 point. So if you're black or you're Hispanic, you get 1 point. If you're Asian or any other race outside of that, outside of white, you get 0 points. They don't give a shit. They don't care. White people, -1 off the back, okay? Negative. Gender, if you're transgender, you get 2 points for being transgender, okay? Female, 1 point. Male, -1. Okay, there are no zeros in this one. So if you're a male, sorry, -1. Politics, obviously Democrats, you get +5, all right, off the break. The story's always gonna be in your favor if you're a Democrat, regardless of what's going on, barring other things. So I'm gonna explain this in a minute. If you're independent, you don't have a political affiliation, you get 0 points. They don't give a shit about you. If you're Republican, you get -5 off the bat. Okay, religion. Muslims get +5. Okay, they hardly ever. I don't think I've ever seen a story negative about a Muslim. Okay, they're always at the top, regardless of what is going on. They try to paint the picture as best as possible when it comes to the religion of Muslim. Hindu, other things like Buddhist, stuff like that, they don't really give a shit. You get 0 points. Christianity, -5 off the break. Okay, regardless of what's going on, -5. All right, sexual preference, we all know gay people are +1. If you're bisexual, they don't give a shit about you. And if you're straight, you're -1. So let me explain how this all works for you, or how it all works in the media. And I'm gonna just bring up quick examples. So let's just say like the Jussie Smollett thing, okay? He was gay, he gets a +point. He was transgender, he was gay, he gets a +point. He was male, got a -point, so they kind of fucked him. But he was black, so he's plus, okay? So that means whatever he says, you're automatically going to believe him. Regardless of how bullshit his story was, and we all know, obviously now it's bullshit, he still gets a +1. On top of the fact that he accused, and I'm sorry I forgot to bring this up, if you're a Trump voter, or if you're a Trump supporter, or if you like Trump, you get -2,000 points, okay? No, regardless of what you do, what you say, however you paint this picture, if you support Trump, they will never paint you in a positive light, ever, okay? That's how it works. Let's be real. Okay, so he was accusing Trump supporters, okay, they already have negative points. They're going to believe him regardless of what. And even to this day, after all the evidence and facts came out, they still like, well, we don't really know what happened. That's bullshit. You fucking know what happened. I mean, you're playing dumb because you don't want to paint this guy in your mind, on your little pie chart, as a positive person, or has to be in a positive light. You can't paint him as bad. Look at the whole Covington thing. I know I'm way behind, but look at the whole Covington thing as just another example. Okay, so this white boy, go his class. 1, he's a Christian, -5. He's white, -1. He's a male, -1. And he's a Trump supporter, -2,000. Okay, so he's clearly in the negative. So no matter what happens, no matter what he does, no matter what goes on, they're going to pay him as negative. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what they did. I mean, think about it. If you actually saw the video, him and his class is being harassed by a group of black people. They're shouting all kinds of shit at him. And then this Indian guy comes up and just starts banging a drum in his face, and he just stands there. Instead of reporting the story like, well, it was a kind of an awkward situation where these group of young men were being harassed and blah, 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 blah. No, they're like, look at this young man standing there menacingly, and he's portraying as this white power over these people. And it's like, he's a fucking teenager, just he happened to wear the wrong hat, or he happened to wear a hat and, be there, and they just started harassing him. And could you imagine if this shit was reversed, if a group of black kids went somewhere and a group of white people were harassing them, and then another white guy came and started banging a drum in a kid's face, how that fucking story would have went down? And that's one of the things you have to check when you listen to any media outlets or anything ever, is that what is the chart, and if the roles were reversed, how would they report it? Because we all know if the same situation happened and there were black kids being harassed by white people, that shit would have been totally different. This would have been inexcusable. How could these white men, grown men, harass these poor teenage kids just on a field trip? This is just evidence and proof of racism in America today, and all the bullshit that they like to kick. So that's what you need to focus on. So every time there's a story, any story that comes out, ever, look at the pie chart, look at your chart, and decipher it. Because you already know how it's going to roll. You already know how they're going to spin it or twist it or turn it or whatever, whenever they can. Now, again, I'm not trying to make this a political thing, but politics does play a role in it. Like, the whole Kavanaugh shit. Kavanaugh, he was accused of whatever 35 fucking years ago, and like Roy Moore was accused of some shit 40 years ago, and immediately the media believed him. Immediately. There's no question, there's no doubts, there's no nothing. We know it for a fact, even though there's no evidence, there's no proof, there's just he say, she say, there's no proof that these people even met these people ever. We believe it 100%. Why? Because they were male, they were white, they were Republican. Immediately you're screwed. And poor Kavanaugh, he happened to be nominated by Trump, so that makes him negative, super negative. So immediately he's screwed, regardless of what people came out. I mean, they had him as a drug lord and all this other crazy shit going on, and everyone believed him immediately. But then, like, you have the black guy who was accused of raping 2 black women in Fairfax. The guy name is Fairfax. He's like some kind of political person in Virginia. And no one knows. We don't know. I mean, we don't know. I mean, apparently this happened 2 years ago. Now, they'll believe a woman saying something about an incident that happened 38 years ago or 40 years ago, whatever it is. But a woman comes out and says it happened 2 years ago. And it's like, we don't know. I mean, again, just look at your chart. Just think about these numbers every time you hear any story ever. Biggest example, and I want to drag this on. So, biggest example. There was 2 elevator incidents. One with Jay-Z, one with Ray Rice. Jay-Z got beat up in the elevator by, I believe it was Beyonce's sister, and it was like, well, it was an incident, ha ha ha, whatever the case may be. Why? Because it was a black woman. She has 2 points. Black man has 0 points. Screwed. Absolutely screwed. He will never win this, okay? So it was like, oh, well, whatever, she was obviously he obviously had to do something to cause her to react in such a violent way. What did he do exactly? But then you flip that shit when it comes to Ray Rice, all of a sudden, he may have, if you believe the video, he may have, hit the woman or hit his soon-to-be wife or whatever she is, and all of a sudden it's like, this type of violence can never happen in America. This is just abuse, and men should never be hitting women, and blah, 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 blah. Again, just think about the numbers anytime you ever hear a story, okay, ever, and it will all start to make sense of how they report it. Who's plus, who's negative, and that tells you all you need to know. All right, man, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is St. Patrick. I'm out.